Howdy y'all, today we're looking at masks. No, not these kinds of masks. Howdy y'all, so as we mentioned earlier, today we're going to be taking a look at how to work and use masks. But firstly, let's see what masks are useful for, how they're used. A mask can reveal or hide a part of a layer. And if you create a mask for a layer using white, you're telling the layer which parts to reveal. Now, if you're going to use the black color, you're telling the layer which parts to hide. Now, before we go into how to actually use masks, we got to tell you one thing, is that using layers and masks is a bit of more of a advanced sort of function or feature. And so it's something that you actually can't use or do in the develop module. Now, before jumping into masks, it's a good idea to know about the tools that you're going to need. And so we recommend to check out our video on selection tools, and you can find a link to that here or in the description below. Now, you can create a mask by clicking the icon with the circle inside this rectangle. And if you don't see these mask icons, you can show them by changing the size of your thumbnails. Now, the mask icons aren't visible for small and medium thumbnails, but are for large and extra large thumbnails. Now, if you prefer working with smaller thumbnails and you don't want the icons there, you can add a mask by clicking this mask icon. Now, you can use two types of masks, hide all or reveal all. Use reveal all to create a white mask in the layer. Reveal all masks reveal everything that's contained in it. Everything that's white is going to be visible. Hide all creates a black mask, and that is going to hide everything. And everything that's black is not visible. Now, which one do you choose? Well, that completely depends upon what you're trying to accomplish. Let's say that we want to make a PNG of just the kingfisher from this photo of the kingfisher that's on a branch that I can later add to another photo. Now, I'm going to need to select the bird and remove everything around it. And before I start, let's duplicate the original layer just to keep our original intact and have an unedited version to use for comparison. Then I'm going to create a mask for the new layer. I'm going to use the paintbrush to select the bird, so it's the only thing that's visible. Now the bird is masked in white. Then I choose the hide all mask. And for masking, I use the paintbrush under the drawing tools or quickly access it using the B key. Now it's important to set up your paintbrush correctly. If you don't know how, there's a video we did on it that you'll find here and also in the description below. Now there are two colors next to the paintbrush, black and white. And like I said, white reveals everything, which means that everything white is going to be visible and black hides everything. Anything black is not visible and isn't seen in that layer. Now, since I have a hide all mask in black, I choose white for my paintbrush. At the top above the histogram, I click mask display because without it, we can't see anything that we're actually selecting. Now I'm going to choose what type of display I want. Normal makes everything red, and I remove the red when masking. Inverted displays my selection in blue. And mask only displays black and white. Black for what is hidden and white for what is revealed. Now this isn't useful when selecting in the beginning because I can't see what I'm selecting. Now the display mode that you use depends entirely on what you are comfortable with. I recommend trying out all of them because each display mode might have something that you could have missed. Now to start, I'm going to choose inverted because I want to paint my selection. And I'm ready to go. If I go outside the lines, that's okay because I'll just use black instead of white to remove it. Now I'm going to display the mask in normal mode and mask only just to check my work. And in normal mode, I can see my mask is missing some of the edges. And with mask only, I can see some spots that I missed inside the bird. I can also see some white areas that I don't want in my selection around the bird. Now, once my selection is complete, I'm going to disable mask display and I'm going to hide the original layer. And I'll do that using the eye right here, the eye icon next to the layer. Now, if you're still having issues with layers and how they work, that's fine. Just check out this video. The link will be below as well to kind of clarify that process. Now that I've hidden the original layer, you can see what I'm left with, and that's just the bird. Next, I'm going to fine tune the details that I didn't notice before. Now you might be wondering, why use a mask at all? Can't you just use a magnetic lasso and select what you need and then get rid of the rest? Or can't you just use an eraser and erase everything around the object that you need? Well, you could, but we don't recommend it. So when you're masking and you discover that something's actually missing from your selection, you can easily add it back when you're using masks. But if you're using some of the methods I mentioned, like that magnetic lasso or eraser, you are stuck with your selection. Now we still need to save the image as a PNG. I'm going to go to the right panel and select Save As, rename the image, and choose PNG for file type, and that's it. Now you can also use masks for local adjustments, as you may have forgotten to do that in the Develop module. Now here's a portrait for demonstration. Again, I'm going to duplicate the original layer and add a mask with Hide All. I'm going to use the paintbrush with white to select the eyes. Be careful here though, for the adjustments to be applied to the photo, I need to click the photo in the mask layer. Otherwise, the adjustment is only going to be applied to the mask and it actually doesn't show up in the photo. Next, I can adjust exposure to bring out the eyes by clicking Adjustments, Adjust, and then Enhance Exposure. Now, if I want to adjust different parts of the face, each in a different way, I need to have them in separate masks, just like in the Develop module. Next, I'm going to duplicate the original layer once again. I'm going to select the lips using the same method, and then I'm going to adjust their color saturation. Now let's check out another example, and this time I'm going to use the Reveal All mask. In this landscape photo, I'll show you how you can replace the sky using a gradient. First, I'm going to duplicate the original layer, then I'm going to add a mask, and this time we're going to use Reveal All. Then I'm going to select Gradient under Drawing Tools. I'm going to choose black and white and then add the gradient so that we have black on top instead of the sky. Now to see the gradient, I'm going to turn on Mask Display at the top. I'm going to choose Normal so I can see exactly what the gradient looks like. And then I adjust Scale as well as Offset so that the gradient's transition is smooth and not too sharp. I'm going to leave Linear for type and leave Mode and Opacity just as they are. Now that we've added the gradient, I'm going to add a new sky photo to replace the previous boring and dull sky. Now I'm going to select Paste from File and then move the layer with the sky below the one with the gradient. And we're done. I added a new sky to the photo, just like that. Now we can tweak the mask just a little bit more because the sky is covering the mountains in places and it doesn't look bad, but we'll demonstrate how to remove it. Now click the mask and use the paintbrush with white to paint over the top of the mountains so that it's not actually covered by the blue sky. And we're done. Now those are just some ways that we can use and work with masks and layers. I hope you guys found that useful. In the next video, we'll be checking out how to use layer blending modes. Give us a thumbs up, have a great one, let us know what you think below, and don't forget to hit the subscribe bell so that you never miss another video. Until next time, I'll see you later. Ciao.